The Saiyans are not actual trained warriors. They are field warriors, for a lack of a better word. Their whole entire process is to measure your battle power and put you into whatever survival efforts that's going to happen to you. And it's not survival training. It's not real training. You're on your own if you're low level, and then you get carried in the battlefield if you're high level. But the sad part about this is that they were hunting in low level areas. Reasonably speaking, Saiyans never really encountered people who could physically resist them in any way, shape, or form. So they're fighting people who have to rely on technology. And sure, the Saiyans will level up based off of that damage, but they won't receive the same power boost they would until they fight somebody of a kind of equal standing that could run them the hands properly. Thus, the reason why Vegeta leveled up better when he fought Goku and then, of course, the Ginyu Force, in comparison to just going to planets and taking them over with people who had some type of firearm or something like that. To prove a point here, I asked Gemini to run some numbers to identify if the Saiyans were able to properly train or not. And I know, by the way, people will mention Vegeta's whole little stint with the Cybermen. That was not training, that was a test. That's all that was. So, anyway, I asked Gemini to calculate the amount of time it would take for me to get from a power level of 2 to 8,000 if I had 2%, 5%, and 10% of Goku's growth when he went to King Kai's planet. So starting from the 2%, at 2%, it would take you about 60 years to get to a power level of 8,000. At 5%, it would take you about 24 years. And at 10%, it would take you about 12 years. Now, the whole entire point of me saying these numbers is that realistically speaking, if you were the average Saiyan and you just woke up and go for a run and hang out and do your job properly, your power level should be no lower than, let's say, 5,000 for some type of margin of error. And for some reason, you had people numbering the range from 100 to the thousands, barely 10,000. And that's really sad because Frieza's army had people running from the lower hundreds to the tens of thousands, excluding him and Captain Ginyu. I think that the next highest person is somewhere in like 54,000. I can't remember who, but I don't really care. The point here being is that the Saiyans just never really trained. If they did, it would be a lot stronger than they possibly would. But because they focus so much on the prestige of their biology, not understanding that if they just started to kind of scuffle with each other, they gain a lot more levels than anything. Really and truly, if Vegeta had fought Nappa in a period of time where he was growing up, Nappa would have grown significantly in power. So would Vegeta, even though Nappa is that much weaker than him. But that's just, obvious speculation. And I'm sure I'll do a longer version of this to tell you exactly how that worked. But till next time, peace.